Trollin with the homies. Honey, welcome to Trollin with Gwen, where we're going to be talking a little bit about politics, a little bit about gossip, but a whole lot of bullshit. Let's get right on into it. First and foremost, I want everyone to take the time and pray for the United States. Ain't nothing new wrong with them. We just caught in between the bullshit between Israel and Palestine. Now, for anybody who is a history fan or critic knows, the war between Palestine and Israel has been going on since the 1940s. So it has been an ongoing uphill battle between these two individuals over land. Now here recently, the Israelites are wanting to evict the Palestinians from their land, which has brought a lot of bloodshed. Now, initially, the Palestinians started bombing the civilians in Israel, okay? So Israel then replied with bombing the shit out of not only Palestine's military, but their leadership. Now, after they did this, of course, it has been back and forth. And as you can see on the news, there's been a lot of bloodshed. Families have been killed. Children have been killed. And the United States is dead center in the middle of it. Now, you might ask yourself, what exactly does this have to do with the black community? Listen to me very carefully. Times like this could oftentimes bring about war, which could possibly very well start on the next World War III. Now, as black Americans, we need to do a couple things. First and foremost, make sure your finances are in order. Make sure you have passports. Make sure you have food stock. Because just like certain things have been cut off during the pandemic, imagine what a major war could do to our already in jeopardy community. Keep your eyes on the news. If you have family and friends in the military, make sure you are there for them, pray for them, and hope that this all does not start a World War III. Okay? So that's what's going on in the United States. Enough about that bullshit. Let's get on to some entertainment. La Porscha. Let's talk about Porscha from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, if this ain't some cherry iced tea from the South, I don't know what is. Now, make no mistake about it, honey. I am always and forever will be Team Porscha. But let's talk about this bullshit. Now, Porscha apparently is engaged to a man that her husband, her ex-fiance baby father, Dennis, introduced her to a young man named Simon, whom is married to a young lady named Phelan. Now, if anybody who is a RHOA fan can remember, back last summer, Porscha and a couple of her buddies came to Phelan's house, swam around in her pool, and now she's swimming around with her husband. The ghetto. I'm still Team Porscha. Okay? Now, let's talk about Porscha. One thing that I love about Porscha is going to get the bag. She started out with Cordell. She moved on to the hot dog man. And now she's at the $40 million African Mandingo. Now, we all can speculate and say what we would do, what we wouldn't do. But when $40 million are on the line, honey, a lot of us would lose our morals. And I think a lot of us should also make sure that we, as the black community, again, make sure that we date up. Make sure that we date with purpose. And not only date, but marry with purpose. Us as a people, we're the only people who don't get dowries. We don't even get cows. We just marry into debt and love. No, I think it's time out for all of that. And let's have a conversation about black wealth, marriage, and the bullshit that ensues. Now let's get down to marriage and the bullshit. Now, I want everybody to know that I'm presenting these facts only because I'm here to help us. See, the black community owns less than 1% of the world's wealth. Now, I think that's something that we could absolutely change within the next generation or so. Within the African American community, as a couple, usually the annual mean is $60,000 a year. Now, that is not terrible money, but it's also money that you're really not able to have that cushion to really create generational wealth, which is what we're looking forward to. So When you have your finances, after making $60,000, of course, Uncle Sam's going to pinch your tits and take 20%, 20 to 30%. So that's going to bring us all down to about $40,000. When you have $40,000, you add on children, the dog, the house, the car, you probably are living paycheck to paycheck. So my proposition is that all of us try to do something that is either a side hustle, start a business, get into the stock market, sell a few things, reduce your debt. That's a way that you can help not only create generational wealth, but help to decrease your debt to income ratio. Okay? Now, people often ask, what is marriage? Now, our community is actually known for marrying for love, as opposed to other communities. Most communities marry for financial gain. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because, again, marriage is what we need a business. Now, usually people will get dowries, a cow. No. We have to stop marrying for only love and make sure that we are also marrying so that we can make money so that our children and our children's children will never even have to see the struggles that we've had to endure. Okay? So.
Amen.
Thank you, Amen, Corner. Because I am allergic to my kids struggling. I do not want my children to struggle once I'm out of this world. Okay? So, of course, marriage again is for generational wealth. So that means we all have to strive to create money, to make sure that we are investing in the stock market, get some real estate, have a business, so that we can have passive income, so that we can purchase that home that's going to create us passive income, or so we can purchase that vehicle that may make us some passive income, Uber, whatever it is. I just know that our community needs to strive, every last one of us, to make whatever financial sacrifices you need to make in order to make 6, 7, 8, 9 figures. And I know we all are capable of doing it because white culture has stolen a lot of things that we could have created a lot of wealth on, but that's a whole nother story. We'll start somewhere else. Okay? So, we've covered that. Let's talk about something else real quick. Marriage and renewal. Now, I would love to see marriage be something that's renewed every 3 to 5 years. Hell, I want to marry somebody who makes X amount of dollars. They want to marry me because I make X amount of dollars. And in those amount of years, what we do is create money. We generate money. And then after 3 years, if we don't want to be together no more, no. I don't know. I just think that's a good idea. You think that's a good idea? Because I know me, I get sick of people real easy. And marriages absolutely are not lasting the way they lasted years and years and years ago for various reasons. And we're about to get into that as well. So that's just my take on it. So let's talk about marriages. Let's talk about why they aren't lasting. There are a plethora of reasons why marriages are not lasting. Preferably one, cheating. You know, where I am in life, if my mate or my man cheats on me, if we are in a situation where we are making money, honestly, for me, I don't care. Now, we all are different. As long as the coinage is coming into my account, for me, I don't care. Now, for someone else, that could be very different. We'll talk about that in a second. So, the reasons why marriages don't last. So a lot of people will say things like, oh, it's Facebook. Oh, it's cheating. Oh, it's money. I absolutely don't think that any of those are the real reasons. The real reasons why marriages aren't lasting is because our sweet little grannies didn't have the financial means, the networks, or a way to get out. A lot of times, a lot of our grannies were stuck in marital situations because they couldn't get out of them because of religion, because of not having money. It had nothing to do with your granddaddy being such an angel or vice versa.
Right.
So if people want to argue with me about why the marriage isn't lasting, why this isn't going on, why that isn't going on, the reason why is because women now have a space not only to get away, but we have the financial means to get away.
You gotta take a drink on that one.
Okay. That is just my theory. I could be wrong, but I'm usually not. So, I would love for you all to give me your thoughts on marriage and what you think and how it should go, and do you agree with what's wrong with marriages today? I also, Facebook of course is a reason, but people think that cheating is the reason why marriages aren't lasting. People have been cheating on their spouses since the beginning of time. That's never going to change. A lot of us had grandfathers who had families around the corner, who were cheating with sisters and brothers, who had 16 children but only 4 in the home. That has always been a thing.
So what's the deal breaker for you?
What is the deal? That is a good question. As long as we're making money, if he decides that he doesn't want to be with me anymore, let's stay in this marriage. Let's continue to make this money, create this generational wealth, and he can go fuck whoever he wanna. As long as I can go do the same thing. It's a two-way street. Okay? We can have an open marriage. I'm actually open to that. However, when you're dealing with places like Atlanta, you have a lot of STDs and HIVs, and it's a lot. So I understand why cheating is such a stigma. A lot of times in open marriages, what I've seen actually is that when people do have open marriages, they actually tend to cheat less. I think people cheat most of the time because it is something that they know they cannot do, and it is innately in our nature to do the things that are prohibited. So I honestly think try having an open marriage. I mean, honestly, most of us are in polyamorous marriages anyways. We just don't know it. When the focus should actually be on getting money. People love to say stupid shit like, oh, money isn't everything. It is.
So what about emotional versus just money?
You mean in a marriage?
It doesn't matter. It don't matter.
See, I think the situation that I specifically am speaking of takes a lot of maturity. It takes two people to sit down and say, hey, you and I are not there mentally anymore, physically anymore, sexually anymore. However, we have children that we're going to raise, and we're going to do whatever we do on the outside. But when we come back in this house, whatever we're going to do is going to make manifest so that our children can have a better future. Now, that's when mental health comes into play. I think therapy is very important if you're going to be in a situation like that, because there has to be specific boundaries. Very specific boundaries. There should be an outline to how this marriage is actually going to work. If you and or people could just divorce. But what kind of emotional capacity would not only you but your children now be in, going from two incomes to one, and having one household to two? Right? I think it is imperative not only for children to have the father in their homes, but also to have a home that is accepting and conducive when therapy is involved. When you all come to a consensus. So let's say I make $100,000 and he makes $150,000. That is $250,000. Let's say that our monthly expenses are about $7,000 a month. You two take that money, you put it into the stock market, you put it in 529B plans for your children, so that when they get older, they can either take that money to start a business or go to college. But just know, when they get out of college, they are not in debt. That means you are starting your children off with a clean slate, and you and your husband or you and your wife were mature enough to say, hey, we're not doing well anymore, but we're going to come together. We're going to make sure our children are good. We're going to have our separate X, Y, and Z. We're going to be mature about this thing, and we're going to make sure that we put in all of the effort to make sure that we build generational wealth for our children, so they don't start out in the same $50, $60, $70, $100,000 debt that we are starting in.
That almost sounds like Kevin Samuel.
No, it don't. What exactly sounds like Kevin Samuels? Because I will say this. I agree with some of what Kevin Samuels says. For example, if I want a man with a nice physique, I can't be out here looking like Rasputia. unless that's what he likes. You have to be what you want to attract. Now, I absolutely agree with him on that. However, Twinkle Toes, I don't agree with him on a lot of things, and especially the way he speaks to women. I absolutely, positively hate the way he speaks to women. Now, something else funny about him. I watched the interview with him and Tasha K.
Yes.
Amazing interview. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you something. He was so respectful to Tasha K. Probably because she was licking his ass. No shade, no tea. A little bit. Okay, a little bit. She was licking his ass. But also because he is well aware that lady's husband was in the building. Had he said that bitch looked like a butch, everybody would have came out the woodwork and whooped his little ass. He legit only speaks to women crazy whom he feels as though does not have male protection around them. That is exactly how I feel. And I mean, any man who, be yourself. If you're going to talk to women crazy, talk to all of them crazy. Don't just pick and choose because you think your ass going to get whooped, because that's exactly what would have ensued. Okay? Whew, I don't want to really talk about Twinkle Toes because, I don't want him to be a part of my platform, because honestly, my platform really is to help the black community. I am not here to tear down any of us, because I just want to give props to all of us as a people. In less than 100 years, black women have become the number one educated amongst all women, the number one entrepreneurs. Now we're going to work on having sustainable businesses where there are more black men in college than there are in prison. Prison reform, we are working diligently on that. Not me per se, but I actually am donating to individuals who are working towards that, because black men are disproportionately sent to prison, disproportionately misdiagnosed, and so are black women. So we all are in the struggle. We all are in the struggle together. I think that all of us have to get the mind of not only black excellence, but black financial excellence. It pet peeves me to hear people say money is not everything. The reason why Asian America has the Asian hate crime bill is because they have money.
Come on.
Lil' Kim said it best. What she said: first you get the
money,
then you get the
power,
then you get the
respect.
How the fuck we gonna get money if everything is so lackadaisical? Get money, get hard. That's motherfucking right. I ain't never been a fraud in my, whatever Cardi B said. Get money the legal way. And let me just tell y'all something else. I love black people so much. I love black people so much. Listen to me, drug dealers. Now, to me, most drug dealers are business savvy individuals. All you have to do is change your product. You already know what your product is. You know who your target audience is. You know where to get your stuff from. You just need to change it. If you are a nice looking man, you better dress up and sell some hair. That's a $1 billion industry that black women, by the way, whom are single-handedly taking that shit back. I'm proud of us. And we also have to make sure that we normalize giving ourselves a pat on the back. Mm-hmm. We are doing great. As much shit as this country and this world has thrown at us, we are still a great people. Trolling with the homies.